It is way too early to panic about Bo Nix and the Broncos passing attack. Broncos country, take a deep breath. And Super Bowl 50 champ Benny Fowler, tell me why it is way too early to panic.
Well, number one, it's too early to panic because it's week one. Also, this is Bo's second year. I think we will see progression from week one to week two. But also, football is the ultimate team game. I think on both interceptions, Bo's teammates did not do enough to help him out. Quarterback is the hardest position to play in sports. And if we look at the first interception, Marvin Mims has to clear out that pylon route that he's running so Cortland can come open on the over route. If Marvin slows down, the defender automatically knows he's not a viable option and will fall off. Also, same thing happens on the next interception where Bo they're supposed to block Jeffrey Simmons and have a double team on Jeffrey Simmons, and he breaks through the double team, creates pressure on Bo, which forces Bo to make a quick decision where he makes a bad throw. So football is the ultimate team game. No, you don't need to panic. This will get corrected. This will get fixed. Also, Sean talked about in his press conference on some of the things that he can do as a play caller and a play designer to help Bo Nix out.
Yeah, I think my opinion doesn't change about Bo Nix and what he is right now at all from what it did before the game. Like to me, we're still just in the same spot where he's got strengths, he's got some weaknesses to clean up. I think this game in particular, like you said, the first interception, not his fault. That's on Marvin. Second interception, there's pressure. There are better decisions to be made. Of course, you can throw it away. That one could have been avoided. I think that he came into this game pretty fired up. He seemed to have a lot of energy. There was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of rah type stuff. And I think he was excited as he should be. And I think in the beginning, that turned into success. There's a lot of bootlegs where he's getting out there, just ripping balls to receivers 15, 20 yards downfield, occasionally into tight windows too. A lot of really good stuff there. It bordered on hero ball is what I would say. And there are downsides to that, which we saw. I think there were times when he could have set his feet in the pocket and just thrown a good pass. But instead, he's kind of running up and kind of runs into a lineman, makes things tougher than they need to be. That's Bo Nix, though. And we saw some of that last year. I think the pedal was maybe pressed down a little bit further than it needed to be, which with Bo, a fiery competitor, which we love, I think that will always be a bit of a question with him is, can you ease off the gas just a little bit? And in week one, after all the hype, how could you be surprised the gas pedal's pushed down a bit?
Well, Henry, the day after the game, Sean Payton was the one that said the pedal was pressed too hard down, and it wasn't Bo's fault. That was my fault. I need to take Bo or my foot off the gas like that. And Sean actually took responsibility. And if you know Sean Payton, he doesn't always do that. He's not afraid to say, like, this guy needs to play better. This needs to be better, instead of just putting all of the blame on himself. And this was a time where he said, no. As a play caller, as the offensive coordinator, as the guy constructing this, I need to know where the game is at. This game wasn't a shootout. It wasn't 80 total points scored like we saw in the Bills and Ravens game. This was a game where there were 32 total points scored. He didn't need to go downfield all the time, especially at the beginning of the game, especially how we saw the running game take off in the second half. And Sean acknowledged that maybe Bo was pushing too much because I was pushing him a little too much. And if there's anything that I know I can trust, it's Sean Payton being a play caller, Sean Payton being an offensive mastermind, and Sean Payton getting this thing back on the right track in terms of the passing game. And the Broncos, we're talking about Bo Nix struggling in a win. That's how you want to build, is off of wins, not losses. Bo Nix did enough here. And I'm also just reminded of what we saw last year. How many touchdowns did Bo Nix have passing in the first couple weeks of the season?
None until week 4?
0, exactly. Okay. In the first few weeks of the season, Bo Nix started really bad. And then he took off. Now, does it mean it's an excuse that Bo can start slow every single year of the season? No. But am I like freaking out and pressing like a big picture panic button? Absolutely not. Way too early.
I actually want to defend Sean Payton now that I'm...
You want to defend Sean Payton from himself?
Yes, I actually do, because now that I think about it, Sean is a human. Sean loves designing plays, calling different plays. I'd actually like to defend him right now based off of the excitement that we saw in preseason from guys like Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, the explosiveness that we haven't really gotten a chance to see, but we've seen in practice, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Evan Ingram, you can get a little pass happy with these new weapons. You talked about this being a Super Bowl winning team, and you have all these weapons now. You have a quarterback going into year 2 that showed a lot of promise and who's picked up this offense entirely throughout the entire offseason. Yeah, he's a human. He's thinking like, oh, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
It's no different than sometimes, you see Steph Curry take unnecessary shots because, sometimes it's the rhythm and the flow of the game. You get a little excited, you shoot one from half court. So I'm actually going to defend Sean and his play calling right there, just based off of him being a human. He's getting excited. You complete the first couple passes. Bo is rolling out to the left, throwing back across his body. You're like, all right, let's go. Let's just keep doing this.
Yep.
To me, if there's one thing I want to see next week, it's just some trust in the pocket. Because I think, first of all, there was a lot of play action. There's a lot of getting him out of the pocket, which makes sense. He's good at it. They had some success early on. It uses all of his tools, his best traits play up there. You ran 3 more play action passes than any other team in the NFL yesterday. So it wasn't just like a lot. It was the most. 16-13 was the second most with Daniel Jones, who we'll see here soon. There was a lot of quick game. I think when they weren't rolling out, there was a lot of here, let's hit this here, let's hit this here. There wasn't a lot of let's just drop back, sit in this pocket. It's not that there was none of that, but I think there's room for more, and I think there's room for Bo to trust that pocket more. You talked there were some pressure. There were a couple plays where you needed better. There were a lot of times where you just had a perfect looking pocket, and sometimes Bo trusted it. Sometimes he tried to move around a bit, made those throws tougher than they need to be. Sometimes he dropped a bit too far back, gave those edge rushers a little bit more of an angle than he probably should have. But again, like that's what he's all about, is draw him back, then you can escape left, you can escape right, you create these rush lanes. Sometimes you just got to sit in the pocket and win there, because I think there were some more opportunities to do that yesterday. And I wonder if the week 2 game plan features any more of that.
Yep. I think Bill Belichick always talks about controlling what you can control.
Right.
Don't believe the hype, or don't listen to the media or whatever. Maybe Bo got a little caught up with Jeffrey Simmons and trying to prove him wrong. And he stayed in the pocket a ton yesterday. And I think there were plenty of lanes for him to run and extend plays. Yeah. One of the hardest things for defenders to do is defend the quarterback run. Top quarterbacks in the league, they scramble. Even if there are some open players. I still think Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, there are players or receivers running open on routes, but they take off and run because that's what they trust, and they live to fight another down.
It's a guarantee, he'll probably catch it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think that's something that you want to see going into next week. It's like, hey, Bo, trust your legs. You're a strong runner. You can make plays. And if you'll have another opportunity to throw the ball, or we'll have another opportunity to run the ball here. But let's extend the plays with your legs. The defense can't account for that.
Right.
So let me ask you this. At what point in the season would you become concerned about Bo? Because I think it's fair to say none of us are pressing the panic button. We're not worried about Bo after week 1. We're not going to overreact like that. But at what point do you need to see significantly better play?
It's tough because it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for Bo Nix to become like the top 5 quarterback, then if we see him play like this over the next 5 more weeks, then that's when you say like, hey, that's probably not coming. He's probably this guy, a guy very similar to what we saw last year. And I think that's what I saw yesterday was this is the same guy we saw last year, maybe just a tick more aggressive, maybe a little bit amped up. And because of that, if you see him play just like this the entire season, I think you're a playoff team. I don't think you're winning a Super Bowl, but I think you're once again a playoff team. Now, if you could take like that one step up, that's when you say like you lean on the defense. There's a chance that you actually maybe could make a run. And I come with that same timeline. Is in 6 weeks, Bo is probably what he is then. Pretty similar to what he'll be at the end of the year, but it's maybe even not the exact same. There might be room to grow even late.
Benny, you agree with that time frame?
I need to see Bo play better next week.
Okay.
He needs to play better next week. I don't want to see any turnovers. I want to see better decision-making with the ball. I want to see better feet with inside the pocket. Doesn't have to be a perfect game. Does not, by any means, does not have to be a perfect game. But I want to see better decision-making. I want to see him use his legs, and I want to see him make some on-time throws. And I want to see Sean mirror that up. I want Sean mirror that up with the running game.
Yep, and I need to see flashes over the next couple of weeks and consistent flashes, specifically against the Colts, who don't have a great defense, and the Bengals, who definitely don't have a great defense. But in terms of the consistent good play, that Jets game, because, I mean, you have the Chargers, who are a great defense. You have the Bengals, who aren't. And then you have the Eagles, who are a great defense. It's going to be tough to get consistency in that stretch. So I'd say when the Broncos go to London, from then on out, it kind of needs to be consistent, really good play from Bo for me. I love this conversation. Don't stop Bo-leavin', Broncos country. It's okay. Not time to press the panic button.